Hello my friends and welcome to the Electric Viking. Fantastic to see you here again. Thank you for subscribing. I've seen a whole influx of subscribers lately. I really appreciate your support. It's just unreal, and it's something I didn't expect to happen when I started this channel only a few months ago. As you know, I love BYD, the company. Didn't know much about them a year ago, and since then I've learned an enormous amount. It's been a really exciting journey. I love what they're doing. I love the fact that they're very similar in many ways to Tesla, even more vertically integrated. And so I've bought the stock, and I own BYD and Tesla stock. They're my two biggest positions in the stock market. So now that you know that, you should also know that I'm going to put in the description links to all the videos I've made about BYD, all the different cars, about the company themselves, about why I think you should invest in the company, about what they do, about their semiconductors, about their batteries, about their blade battery. All those videos will be in the links in the description. So check those out if you haven't seen all of them. Now, BYD are going to launch a new premium EV brand. I just announced yesterday, BYD are bringing out a pickup truck, or a ute as we call them here in Australia, which is going to be enormous for the market, especially here for the Australian market. To see the size vehicle they're building will be a little bit smaller than a Ford F-150, be more like the size of a Ford Ranger. And there is an enormous demand globally for those kinds of trucks, especially in electric versions. Now, like I said, BYD are bringing out a premium brand to compete with, on brand impression, companies like Tesla, NIO, Mercedes, etc., etc. Now, BYD say it's going to start with a new high-end model, and the launch of this new high-end model will happen in 2023. Now, in June, BYD's representative said that there'll be a new high-end model that could be released in the fourth quarter of this year at a price of between 500,000 and 800,000 Chinese yen, which is up to $125,000. So it's between about, say, 90,000 and 125,000 US dollars, by the way. That's a lot of money. That's like almost Tesla Model S Plaid money. So I'm absolutely intrigued to see what this vehicle is going to be. Now, this model is expected to be produced and sold under a brand new name. If you're not already aware of this, the Chinese absolutely love creating new brand names. Now, obviously, the same thing happens in the West a little bit, but in comparison to China, it's nothing. It's night and day. There are so many brands in China being created almost by the minute. It's slightly ridiculous, to be fair. It's NIO, they're creating a new brand. There's so many different brands. If you actually look at the companies on Wikipedia, parent companies, you'll see that they have brand after brand after brand. I'm not sure why they do this. They try to kind of strategically position their brands. I don't think it's necessary, but it's going to be fascinating to see what BYD does and what this new premium vehicle will be. Now, another rumor has recently said that a premium brand with an independent dealer network to accommodate premium services will be launched by BYD in 2022. I don't know if this is actually true or not, but there's definitely something going on at BYD with a premium vehicle. And I think we're going to find out within the next 6 months what that premium vehicle is. Now, I've reported on what's happening at BYD and how BYD are actually starting to take over the Chinese electric car market along with Tesla, and how their sales figures as a percentage of their cars sold that are dramatically increasing. Over the last quarter, BYD sold 70% of their cars as electric or plug-in vehicles, and that figure is only increasing. Now, BYD has set a target to sell 600,000 plug-in electric cars this year. That sounds difficult, as they're only just over 200,000 for the first 6 months of the year. So their average needs to increase to 80,000 a month for the next 5 months. And their current record level was last month, well, the last reported month of July, where they sold 50,000. They sold 40,000 in June. So you might be thinking, well, there's an enormous chip shortage right now, so BYD are going to struggle with that. Tesla's having to restrict the number of cars, decrease the number of cars they're building. Toyota dramatically so. Basically every car company in the world has a bottleneck where they can't produce more cars. They're having to significantly decrease the number of cars they produce because there is enormous global semiconductor chip shortages. Well, fortunately for BYD, they make the chips themselves. So not a problem for them. Now, I'm not sure they'll get to 600,000, but I do think there's a very good chance they'll get to 500,000. The reason for that is BYD have an onslaught of new models coming out now in China that are much better than their cars that they had previously. They're old model vehicles. The new models are much better. They're priced incredibly competitively. When you look at the specs and the features they have, they're priced similarly to ICE versions of those cars. But of course, they're electric. They're much better. Now, like I said, I believe 500,000 is possible if the rate remains at 50,000 vehicles or a month or just slightly increases. Now, next year, BYD's sales targets are 1.5 million plug-in vehicles, which means their average monthly target has to be 125,000. And now this number of vehicles sold is in line with what I've been predicting for BYD. I've been predicting that they will be one of the world's 4 largest car manufacturers in 2030. And doing this would put them on a path to actually be one of the world's largest car manufacturers. Now, as you know, I report monthly on BYD sales figures. I report monthly on BYD's models and on any other news about the company. Now, one of the really interesting things about the BYD Blade battery is that it appears as though BYD have increased energy density of lithium iron phosphate batteries to about 200 watts per kilo. And they're able to package the cells much better into the battery packs for better overall pack energy and density. Also, they've brought down the cost of their lithium ion battery packs to below $100 per kilo. So they've done two things at once, right? They've made the batteries much better, they're safer, the technology is far better, the energy density is better, and the batteries are now much cheaper for BYD to build. And this is why you're going to see BYD vehicles selling like crazy all over the world, because BYD is potentially the only company on the planet that can sell battery electric vehicles at the same price as an ICE vehicle and still make a profit. Thanks for listening. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.